Hi, this is Chris. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do some special effects in watercolor. And as you can see, I have some salt. There's salt in there, salt, and we're going to do some special effects using salt and watercolor. So I'm going to do it in my little watercolor book. And this is a mixed media paper. It's sort of a buff color. The effect works best on bright white, but it still works. And after I do it on here, I'll show you how it looks on some different watercolor papers. So all we need is a nice dark color and some different salts to try out and see what happens. So I think I'll just do mine in swatches. Across like this, and I'm going to use my darkest blue, ultramarine, and I want a lot of pigment in it. I don't want it too watery. And I'm going to put some table salt on it. I'm going to put a little bit more at one end and a little bit less at the other end just to see the effect. The next salt I have, I'm not sure, this was left over from when I took a class on special effects and I don't remember, it looks like table salt, so we'll just do another one and see what this one looks like. I'm going to brush off the little bits there and just make another swatch. Again, putting more at one end and less at the other end, just so I can see the difference. So this will be a sample page if you do this. And next we have Maldon sea salt flakes. This is a brand new box. Very pretty salt. This is another sea salt with flakes, and there's some little tiny ones down at the back here. I'm going to use those. Next is the Himalayan pink salt. These are really big. I don't know if they'll react properly. But it's fun to try. And the last one I have a little bit of sidewalk salt. Now all I have to do is go find something else to do while I'm waiting for these to dry. As it dries, the salt soaks up the water, and then we get our special effect. Be back in a split second. I'm back, and these are definitely dry. I ran some errands, so I was gone for a while. And I'll pull you in close so you can see this. And then I'm just going to brush the crystals off. They stick to the paint a little bit, but not much. Some of the ways you can use this is in a snowy scene. It would be really pretty to do some dark shadows of the snow and then put the salt effects on it like crystals. Or you could do a dark evening sky and put salt in there, and you can get like crystals in the atmosphere or even some stars. It could look like stars. You can use it in abstract painting to give more texture. There's all different kinds of ways to do it. And I'm not sure that this paper is going to really work that well. It looks like it's soaking up the paint before the salt has a chance to soak up the paint. But we'll go ahead with it anyways. Okay, there's our special effects. Now I'll show you the special effect on watercolor paper. So this one is Arches 90-pound cold press. So I have table salt here, and I have this salt that was in the other container that I think was table salt. Some flake salt, some sea salt flakes, sidewalk salt, and Himalayan salt. The design is a little more subtle on this paper, this mixed media paper. It's a little bit better on the watercolor paper. I have some more watercolor paper here. So this is Bristol paper, which has a hot finish. In other words, it's like pressed, it's smooth. And this one is 90-pound rough Arches. I think I'll cut some of the better ones of these off and stick them in my book so they can show what it does. This one's a good one. I think I'll just cut around it. At the end of the video, I'll show some of my paintings where I use this effect. So here's our final results. These that I did on the watercolor paper here turned out the best, actually. And so this was a 90-pound cold press, 90-pound cold press, 90-pound cold press, and this was 90-pound rough Arches watercolor paper. And then the ones on the mixed media paper, there's some special effects. They're better here with the small salts. Didn't do too much here. I felt like the paint dried up really fast. And then this is on the Bristol paper. These are actually some older paintings I've done, and didn't really finish, I don't think. But anyways, I'll bring you in closer, and you can see right in here I put in some salt all along in here, and it just gives a little texture, a little extra texture to the watercolor paints. And the next one, it's a mountain scene in the desert, and this is at Death Valley. And you can see here in the salt flats of Death Valley, I added different colors and then dropped the salt in there, and it gave a whole different texture, something you couldn't really paint with a brush. And that's my cat Buddy crying in the background. He wants to go out. of my office, and I'm in the middle of this. And here's a sort of an experiment of painting, of trying washes one on top of the other and let them blend together. And down here in the bottom you can see there's all this, these marks in here. They're all made by the salt, and a few in here, and there's some in there, and some in there. And so that's just a few of the things you can do with salt. It's something fun to experiment and see what kind of interesting images you can get out of it. Thanks for watching, and have a great day painting. Bye-bye.